Jurgen Klopp might be a sore loser, and he would moan and bitch about everything under the sun. But the Liverpool manager is not the only coach who isn't a huge fan of the VAR. This is a technology that was brought in to improve the quality of refereeing. The only thing it has done, however, is expose the poor interpretation skills of referees. So today we're going to talk about VAR, and through examples, we'll tell you how the technology is ruining the game. Before we begin, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you're never too far away from all the great stuff we put out there. We start off with a VAR controversy, which was the main reason why people changed Liverpool's spelling and started calling them Liv VAR Pool. The incident happened in an FA Cup encounter in January 2023 against Brighton. The Reds were quite physical throughout the game, but Fabinho decided to take things too far. The Brazilian went for a studs-up challenge on Evan Ferguson's ankle. He knew he had messed up big time and that VAR would definitely make a case for a red card. But lo and behold, the former AS Monaco man only received a yellow card for what should have been a red card. Later on, the PGMOL admitted that a mistake had been made. Klopp didn't have anything to say about that, did he? Of course, he had a lot to say about VAR in the same year, but to find out what he had to say, you need to stick around a little while longer. Over to Fulham, who held West Ham to a goalless draw. The game was a dull affair, except for that one incident where Thomas Souček and Alexander Mitrovic were not happy with each other. In a tussle before a free kick was delivered, the West Ham midfielder accidentally brushed the Fulham man's elbow. Mitrovic, like many players these days, fell down on the ground as if he was hit by a bullet. Mike Dean was at the centre of it, and we all know that Dino Boy loves to be part of controversies. VAR did not even ask Dean to go to the screen. In fact, the referee sent off Souček even though he should have consulted the screen first. Next we go to London, where Tottenham registered a 2-1 win over Brighton in April 2023. That win was a rare memorable moment for Christian Stellini, who was Antonio Conte's number 2. Harry Kane scored the winner, but just before that, Kaoru Mitoma was tripped by Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. If you ask us, this was the easiest penalty decision a referee could make, especially after VAR had ruled out 2 Brighton goals for offside. But technology sucks, and VAR incorrectly decided that this was no penalty. Wow. Now, a lot of people say that Manchester United get tons of advantages from the referees. Well, it might have been very true, but Fergie time is over, and since then the Red Devils have been on the receiving end of some really terrible decisions. Take for instance a Premier League encounter against Tottenham in April 2021. United won that game 3-1, but that was not enough for anyone to forget how crappy VAR technology is. At halftime, United went back to the lockers, absolutely pissed that a perfectly good strike from Edison Cavani was ruled out by who else? VAR. But that wasn't the end of it. In the build-up to the goal, Scott McTominay's arm accidentally flicked Son Heung-min's face. McTominay was actually trying to get away from the South Korean, but Son created an Oscar-worthy performance out of it. VAR deemed that a foul. And we agree with Roy Keane when he said that if this was a foul, then all of us can go home. The 2022-23 campaign was a crappy one for Chelsea. It was a terrible season where they managed only 11 wins, and even that could have been a task had it not been VAR that came to the rescue on multiple occasions. For example, the 2-1 win over West Ham was as controversial as it can get. Maxwell Cornet drew the hammers level, but then VAR decided to intervene. Not sure what the VAR guys had for eyes there, because they disallowed a perfectly good goal because apparently Jared Bowen had fouled Edward Mendy. The decision was softer than a baby's butt cheeks, and also makes you wonder if we actually need such technology in the game. Now, the next one is a seriously dumb decision. Crystal Palace somehow managed to hold Brighton to a 1-1 draw. The two teams hate each other, so a controversial moment was on the cards. Pervis Estupinan curled an effort in. However, VAR spotted that the Ecuadorian may have been offside and chalked off the goal. However, there was a guy named John Brooks at the VAR who did something idiotic. He ended up drawing the lines from the wrong defender. Lesson from this? Guys, be dumb at times, but not as dumb as John Brooks. Manchester City are a machine with no mercy. They'll pick you up and beat you up until you either surrender or have nothing left to give. So a team like City getting any unnecessary favours should cause a stir. In February 2022, City got away with it in a game against Everton. It was a slim 1-0 win, and it was Rodri whose blatant handball in his own area would have earned Everton a penalty. In came the VAR, and whoever was handling it on that day, the bloke must have been high on some really good stuff, because for some odd reason, he did not see the handball intentional enough to consider it a serious offence. Chris Kavanagh was the man on the console. We hope for his kid's sake that he isn't allowed near a screen at home. Way back in 2016, Louis van Gaal gave us a quote that we'll never forget. After Manchester United's Marouane Fellaini had his hair grabbed by an opponent, the Dutch tactician had this to say: "Every human being who is grabbed by their hair, only with sex masochism, then it is allowed, not in other situations." Easy translation? You're not supposed to pull an opponent's hair during a football game. But it appears that Tottenham's Christian Romero was too eager on the day when Chelsea took on Tottenham because the Argentine found something fascinating about Marc Cucurella's free-flowing locks. VAR did not spot the nasty incident, which was part of a sequence that led to Harry Kane scoring a last-minute equaliser. Early in the season, Manchester United got away with a win over Wolves. This was the opening weekend of the 2023-24 season, and United weren't that good, to be honest. Leading 1-0 with just seconds left on the clock, Sasa Kalajdzic felt the full wrath of Andre Onana, who clattered him while trying to collect a cross. The VAR official told referee Simon Hooper to keep doing what he was doing, which was basically ignore a blatant penalty and play a role in helping United avoid an embarrassing draw. We always save the best for last, and had Arsene Wenger been the manager of Arsenal on that day, he would have twisted him last name to serve up the referee who was the reason behind the horrible decision. In February 2023, Arsenal were held to a 1-1 draw by Brentford, which impacted their ability to end City's dominance of the league. Brentford's goal was as controversial as it could get. First, it was Ethan Pinnock who had interfered with play, and then it was Christian Norgaard's assist to Ivan Toney. The decision was taken to the VAR, and guess what? The guy sitting in front of the screen forgot to draw the lines for the goal, and allowed it to stand. Mikel Arteta was given an apology by the PGMOL, but in such a crunch part of the season, apologies are as hollow as players signing for lucrative deals and saying that they didn't do it for the money. So guys, we absolutely hate VAR. The technology is fine, but the people running it are not. And this is why this tech is never going to end controversy in the game. What do you think? Do you really want VAR to stick around, or scrap it for good? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.